Yes, the title and everything I have to tell you is true. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. As of now, Sonic Frontiers will fail. There are red flags everywhere with Frontiers, and while we are still in development of this game, which we don't know much about, we have a growing list of reasons to be worried, as there are bad decisions being made, and a changing of hands behind the scenes. From info from Azuka to why we know about the gameplay from multiple confirmed leaks, but we haven't seen a single droplet yet. There's a lot to get into, but quickly, I have some words I have to quickly read to you. This video is sponsored by Opera GX, and this browser has everything you could want. All the different socials I use, Messenger, Twitch, Discord, which is where I'm constantly hanging out in the Sonic Show VC. Well, now they're all right there, conveniently in your sidebar. Custom animated wallpapers. Tell me this isn't drippy. You can't. Google Chrome extensions, that's right. Also, the quick import tool. Literally all your info from your other browser, including transferring all your passwords. Also, you can get it on your phone, and using their flow feature, you can send files, videos, links, and notes between your PC and phone. It also has GX Cleaner, so your browser isn't competing with your game or program for CPU and RAM usage. I actually find this really useful when editing with Premiere, since that requires all the resources I can give it to move as quickly and efficiently as I need it to. Go download Opera GX from my link in the description. It lets them know I sent ya, and it's a legitimately really cool web browser. So let's get into the main topic of today's video. We have a surprisingly decent amount of information on Frontiers. And what's very important to note as we go through the rest of this info and news is that Takashi Iizuka is the sole person talking and doing interviews about this game. You may not know why, but this will become very important info later, as I'm going to be honest. My feelings towards Frontiers are getting dark quickly, and I think you'll see why soon enough. Frontiers is a light of potential for the Sonic series, but potential is nothing more than just that if not done correctly by the team making it. So, Iizuka in these interviews has been very vague, and whenever there is new info, it seems like it comes from him slipping and saying something he's really not supposed to. Kind of like how he gave the release window for Origins and Sonic Prime.
Wow.
Which, by the way, in case you don't know, Sonic Prime is apparently dropping it fall later this year. And Origins is like a topic for another video because it's either going to get delayed or be a shadow drop, but that's like a whole other thing. So let's get into the shadow organization that is Sonic Team and what I fear the most about this production. See, I don't really care either way about the quills, although I do think the new ones look a little better. Just because of the symmetry, but regardless, the issue of the quills is like a drop in the ocean compared to this. So it has been confirmed a while ago that Morio Kishimoto will be directing Sonic Frontiers. And for the members of my audience who are mentally inept, no, I didn't say Mario, I said Morio. Even though that's exactly how people from New Jersey say Mario.
Hello!
So Morio Kishimoto will be leading Sonic Team Japan in this endeavor. Now, one thing that makes me really curious is if Takashi is going to have really any hand in this game, or just distant oversight and check-ins. I mean, after Forces, there was a lot of rearranging going on, and one of the biggest ones is that Takashi decided he wanted to live in America. And live in America he does. I know, kinda shocking. Imagine going to your local supermarket and Takashi Iizuka's there getting a whole shopping cart worth of dental products. Now maybe he just wanted to do it, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand this move. Because it seems like the public faces of this game aren't even the people in the studios making the game itself. Are we being intentionally hyped up by everyone involved? Like we've seen a few empty environments and zero gameplay. We've seen Takashi talking in some interviews, despite being in America while the game is being developed by Sonic Team Japan. Now, to make it clear, I'm certain he's going back and forth, and they have some sort of work at home type of function, you know, with that. And we'll go into why I think he's not very involved, but I am seriously questioning how involved Takashi Iizuka even is. In recent years, he's been more and more hands-off, and of course, I know he's producing. But producing is a whole range of tasks. A producer can go from being barely involved at all to being deeply involved into every single aspect. Takashi is a man who wears many titles, and throughout all of his recent interviews, his titles have been changing from left to right. To some interviewers saying he's the game designer, which he hasn't been credited as since 2009's Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympic Games, to producer, which he's had a slight modification to, as he's now credited regardless of working on the game, as he is the quote, Sonic series producer, which he's now putting on everything. Even Forces, he was that, and also had head supervisor. What does this even mean? Is Takashi the guy I go to if I want to get some like head around here? Or is he going to just like supervise it? I kid, but frankly, his involvement is decreasing over time, which is only natural, but he's still one of the only public faces to Sonic Team. Many hundreds, likely thousands of people are working on this game, and yet we're only hearing from a single soul. When you look into the development of literally almost any other game, you will see a wide range of people talking and teasing the project that they've been working on and are more knowledgeable of than anyone else. Many of you probably aren't very familiar with how a lot of studios work on stuff, as I assume a lot of you only keep tabs on like Sonic and Nintendo, but this is not common. And this isn't me being like, I know the cycle, because even with the mediocre gameplay critics slammed Sonic Forces for, they still showed gameplay pretty early. Here's a clip of a 13 to 14-year-old Ellis Mark talking about how disappointing it looked when they showed it.
I just want to see this franchise improve, and I'm going to do this by pointing out the negatives in the trailer for Sonic Forces. Generations levels were around 3 to 4 minutes long. This was 40 seconds of boost to win. Either the levels will be longer, or there will be a lot of boost to win in this game.
With Morio Kishimoto, the director of the game, not talking about it, but Takashi Iizuka's out here when he's just the Sonic series producer, and he's credited as the same role on both Sonic Forces and Team Sonic Racing, a game they had no hand in developing. So why is this random producer talking about the game when the director and his entire team have been radio silent and there's still no gameplay? I'll go more in depth about this concept later, but this is a strategy generally done by games not looking so hot, and almost always games not doing well in production. Now, I believe this is a part of the reason and the major disappointment of Forces. Anytime I mention this game, there's defenders of it in my comments, and that's because it simply is not an awful game. It's just so incredibly bland and mediocre, and that's what upsets me the most about it. However, Forces was hyped up, and almost entirely by Iizuka. And guess what? The original CG trailers angled it in a way to get us excited, and in interviews, he kept hyping it up as the next big thing, when it was all a facade and more or less the same. Now, I will say, I don't think Frontiers is going to be the same, but here's where we are. We've seen a cool CGI trailer and a short fly-through of some empty sections of the map. Also, to give a little credit, Forces had a cool premise with Eggman actually winning, and you slowly have to take the planet back. Kinda like Unleashed, which is now many people's favorite Sonic game. Plus, the fiery and destroyed environment seemed kinda cool. I mean, people loved Crisis City, even at the time, and to make the main stage and aesthetic of the game kinda like that is a good idea. Also, so many people were hyped up as this looked like the true sequel to the beloved 2011 entry, Sonic Generations. People were begging for Sonic Generations 2, and this seemed like their answer. It's easy to look back now and be like, I thought it was mid, but we only thought that after they showed gameplay. And the negative response to the gameplay is likely the reason we haven't seen anything yet. The parallels with Frontiers are undeniable. And while I am personally excited for Frontiers, all these cool concepts like the open world and Titan boss fights and everything else goes completely down the drain if they're not implemented right, and I'll explain how they can make sure they do this right. Because this world cannot be empty in the final release. They can make it empty in the trailer for aesthetic purposes, fine, but if it releases like this, you'll be running around bored. There's gotta be a variety of collectibles, something nearly all open world games have, and is something that's really make it or break it, since it determines how fun exploring the world is, which is the entire purpose of an open world game. Also, no. Learn from Unleashed. Don't make them required to progress. That was awful. but give me a good reward for getting them so I want to get them. Maybe like cosmetics? I don't know. Also, the Titan boss fights must be engaging. I don't know if they have the gall to make them just quick time events or something where you hit them a little and then perform a quick time, maybe like 3 times in a row. Yeah, no. It's gotta be fun and engaging. And since there's a set amount of them, and it seems like these will be the main boss battles for the game, they have to have variety. This worries me a little, because many of the biggest flaws of these open world games is that the bosses and tasks that you have to do around the map are more or less copy-pasted with a new coat of paint. Sonic has always had really fun boss fights, and since the one in recent years have been a little less cool and a little less intimidating, a return to this would be nice. But again, you can't make an oil painting with an 8-pack of crayons. We have to look at the team working on this project and go, are we really working with the right tools here? And judging on how this game is less than a year away, supposedly not. We can be optimistic, but like I said, I'm also a realist. Since we haven't seen any gameplay, if the first thing we see isn't impressive, I say we all let Sega know they should delay this. I know we want the game and holiday sales are their bread and butter, but we've seen them many times just proceed anyways because the profit loss in waiting is not worth it for them. But will they do that here? Would they really rush a game just to get holiday sales? I mean, we haven't seen any indication they won't, especially considering Sonic Colors Ultimate, which they rushed Blind Squirrel to make, to also Team Sonic Racing that they rushed Sumo Digital to make, or even Sonic Forces, something they were able to get out stably, but at what cost? A pattern we have is that Sega has to make an ultimate choice. Do they choose polish or ambition? The ambitious titles, like the infamous Sonic 06, will not be able to be properly made with the time and care they require. However, games like Sonic 4, the only game Takashi Iizuka has been credited as project lead on, was not a buggy mess. However, the game wasn't good by any stretch of the imagination. Even the defenders will say, Sonic 4 Episode 2 is good, but the first one, come on, nobody likes that first one. And if you look back to everything since the Wii era, which has been over 15 years now, you'll see this pattern doesn't really break. The only quote-unquote exception is Sonic Mania. But Mania's team were all Sonic game experts who had been doing this for free forever. They had an opportunity that they took and they were a competent team. However, notice how much of that game we saw. Even at its announcement, it had a playable demo for fans there. And we heard from all the devs on the team, and they weren't pushed behind some curtain to work secretly in the shadows or whatever. Update. While finishing editing, Gamesradar just now released an article with new information called With Sonic Frontiers, Sega is focused on bringing Sonic to the next level. So let's cover the new pieces of info in this article. And again, this info is coming from Iizuka and nobody else. Still no word from the director or literally anybody else involved. But basically the first part is saying, without saying, we messed up big time on Forces and we are learning from that. What's really interesting and worrying is Iizuka's insistence on open zone and other wording. I'll read this excerpt from Gamesradar's reporting in whole as it's really condensed. So, one of the biggest questions hanging over Sonic Frontiers is whether it will be set throughout a fully open world or whether the various biomes of Starfall Islands will be self-contained. Sega has been careful with its language so far, referring to the 2022 release as being set in the franchise's first ever open zone inspired experience, or explaining that it will offer open zone freedom. When I asked Iizuka for clarity, he's only willing to confirm that we have further details that will be coming soon. We don't have too much more to share regarding the environment just yet, but stay tuned for more details this year. This information will be key for Sonic Frontiers. The landscapes we've glimpsed so far are beautiful. Dense forests, sparkling waterfalls, and sizzling desert expanses. And I hope we'll be able to race through these areas and others without breaking a sweat or hitting a loading screen. I'm particularly keen to see whether the power of new gen tech and a proficiency with last gen consoles can finally provide Sonic with a playground large enough to properly bring his relentless pursuit of speed to life. That was a tongue twister. This is very interesting, and making this a seamless experience is ultra important. The way this is worded makes me think they have no solution to blending these zones together cohesively, because why else would they be so against the phrase open world? And to bring addition to my worry, Azuka even says this is a challenge they are struggling with right now. Azuka tells me that bringing Sonic's signature speed and combat abilities to life into larger areas is among Sonic Team's greatest challenges. We are focused on bringing Sonic to the next level and assuring that he's fully represented as the character that fans know and love while still making his new form exciting. We pay extremely close attention to getting all the little Sonic details right to make sure that Sonic's signature speed and characteristics remain consistent across every gaming iteration, says Azuka. Also, keyword consistency. Like I said on the video about the model, he also says, with Sonic Frontiers, we'll introduce new combat styles to bring Sonic's signature dexterity onto the battlefield, and the new exploration options obviously play into his iconic speedy nature. And the obviously, oh, Azuka, the sass! And with the fact that next they say they're not ready to nail down a firm release window, we are seeing a very unfinished project. Something definitely not ready for public consumption. I have more info to go in about Frontiers, but I wanted to butt in to add this, since I knew a lot of people would be curious about the news, and I am the #1 source of all Sonic news. I forgot to say it earlier, but sub and bell. I need it. I need it! So, I want to get more into this concept of why we aren't seeing it. I want to look at a game that is similar conceptually and going through a lot of the same struggles that Frontiers is. Let's quickly cover Bungie and 343 Studios. So Bungie are the developers between Halo 1 through 3, ODST, and Reach. When making Halo 3, they had a video series on their website called Vidocs. Now these outline their mindset and different team members working on the game and design process, talking about what changes they're making, as well as to the challenges they faced and the decisions that went into them. They were very ahead of their time for 2007. Now fast forward to 2018. 343 Studios announced Halo Infinite with a small teaser trailer and showing a bit of the main world. And it was the first open world Halo game ever. The parallels to Sonic Frontiers are wild. And from that teaser, they showed no gameplay for a long time. However, over a year later, once we saw gameplay of Halo Infinite, people's excitement quickly turned to bitterness. The people hated what they saw. So when 343 saw the negative lashback from this, they decided to delay the game an entire year, meaning they would still get their holiday release and would have much more time to put into really polishing the game and making sure it came out great. And then fast forward to now. It comes out, and while it definitely has its flaws and is in no way perfect, I really enjoy it, and I'm glad it got this time for polish, because I can't imagine how bad the 2020 build was if that was going to be released. So, that year was clearly important, and people liked the game. I believe it's even reviewing quite well. So, that year was clearly important. They got to put in the work and polish they needed for this game. And they lost directors and went through development heck. And yet, we got a good game because of Microsoft willing to take a short-term loss for what could be a major long-term win. Now, if Frontiers gameplay is bad, I won't be a hater. However, I will, and I'll encourage you all to do the same, beg that they delay this game. We need good gameplay, and I don't want them to try hide it by quit cutting short clips in a trailer. I want to see someone play this game, so I'm not getting the soundbite equivalent of gameplay, which might I add, they gave us with Forces. And I guess there's actually not too much to say about this second one, but there's some parallels to cover, and honestly, kind of just want to show to you and talk about this game for a second. So, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk looks incredible. It's basically just like a spiritual successor to the Jet Set Radio franchise. However, the gameplay I've seen is limited, but it's their way of saying, hey, we got the basic fundamentals down, relax and trust us. And this is great. From its announcement, we've seen way more gameplay. Now, I'm not certain how big Team Reptile is, but they have to be decently sized. I remember discovering Lethal League from German Star in 2014, and they have certainly become much larger since then. However, they are certainly nowhere near the size of Sonic Team, but yet are somehow still being more vocal. I understand that since they're indie, there's less red tape with big executives, boardroom members, and concepts too big for my small raccoon brain. But I'm certain if things were going well, we would see gameplay of Sonic Frontiers by now. I'll say it, if we don't see anything by April, I would really start to panic and abandon any expectations for this project. I'm just keeping it real. By even showing as much as limited gameplay, which I'm fine with, you're showing that, hey, this game will play well, let us make good levels and enemies, and fun things to surprise you with, but be assured the game will play well. Because honestly, it's a little sus that they are refusing to assure us on the gameplay at all. But yeah, I'm still excited about Frontiers. I'm not all doom and gloom, but as more and more time passes, my anticipation is turning into anxiousness over this project. We'll ultimately just have to wait to see more about it, but that's just my thoughts. Join my Discord. I've been playing games like Among Us, Gartic Phone, even Fortnite, with fans, creator friends just hopping in. We've been building this awesome VC community. You really gotta check it out, especially if you're like a cool person. I'll be honest, don't come in and be like ultra annoying. Chill people only. Also, I bet you didn't know this, but the Sonic Show is the #1 source of all Sonic news, and if you're not subbed as well as belled, with all notifications on, you're gonna miss out on all Sonic news, and that's just sad. We are so close to beating Tails' channel. Please, just give me your subs. Go check out the sponsor. They support me so I can survive. Yay! Lots of love. Oh, also follow my Twitter. I've been making funny memes there. Funny memes.
So I hope you enjoyed this short video. I hope the comments can be a little bit better than last time. Bye.